Allie with the Booker Law Firm. Eat what you kill. If you don't kill nothing, you don't eat. There are times where you, as lawyers, you may go through a whole dry spell.
Hey, it's Kellen, and today on Diversified Game, all the way from Houston, I have Allie Booker. She is an attorney. Her links will be in the description box. So if you're in Texas, maybe if you're just nationwide, she can help you. It's going to be for a fee, but I tell you, she won't stop until she wins. Allie, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Hi, how are you doing, Kellen?
I am awesome. I'm awesome. Allie, I gotta say, you are a breath of fresh air. When I saw your Instagram, and shout out to Phil of the African Diaspora
Yes.
for connecting us. But I was like, this is a different type of person. And a lot of times people see attorneys only in court and they're like, oh man, my attorney is, straight arrow, but you got a wild side to you. But that's that TSU wild side. I'm a Grambling. Yeah, I'm a Grambling man. But I love being at TSU. For a second, I was worried if I knew you. I said, I might already know Allie. Yeah, but I want you to tell people, to get to law school, to, pass the bar, people can Google that information. What inspired you to become an attorney?
I always wanted to, I always like to help people or whatever. So I was always like, I'm going to be a lawyer. I'm going to be a doctor, Black people do things. I had family members that were in the oil industry in the 80s and a really successful, she's not my grandmother, but she's like a grandmother. It's my mother's older sister. And she is so much older than my mom that's the role that she took. And she just was a mover and a shaker. She's a mover and she's a shaker. And so she always taught me, you're going to get out there and you're going to break the mold. You got to break the mold. You got to be who you are, but you got to be successful. She was really successful. So again, I said I was going to be a doctor or a lawyer. Well, I can't poke people, Kellen. So guess what? I don't like blood. So I was like, But I really wanted to deliver babies. I wanted to be an obstetrician gynecologist. And through the career day, 10th grade at my school, I graduated from Skyfair High School. Went to career day and the doctors were dull as hell. So the doctors were dull. The only thing I liked about their presentation was the little pin you get at the end that's like a shot. That was it. So I was like, you know what? No. So the attorneys, every attorney, it was like 3 of them, all of them on the panel, they had so much life and so much energy. And I was like, you know what? That's more me. That's more me. That's where I'm going to go ahead. I'm go ahead and be a lawyer. And so I did it.
Okay. Now, did you fast track at all? Because, you get 90 credits and you could go into law school, or did you finish with your bachelor's, then go into law school? And then what made you say, I want to do entrepreneurship instead of working for, a big firm that's been around 200 years?
Okay. So what I did was I was on the track team at U of H. So I went on a track scholarship. I was on the track team at U of H. So I couldn't fast track my way through. You have 5 years. I redshirted 1 year, which was my last year. You have to travel a lot. I double majored. So it was hard, for me to, do all that. So I graduated in the normal time. But one thing was my mother was very, very good. She wouldn't look, dude, I could not take a break. And I wanted to take a break and I whined about taking a break and my mom would not let me take a break. She's like, you're going straight through. Don't even try it. So as soon as I was school, I was already studying, for the LSAT while I was in my last semester. And I actually, got into school and everything in my last semester of my undergrad and went straight from, months, went straight from undergrad to law school. I did my regular 3 years in law school. But I went without watching TV, listening to the radio. I mean, nothing for 3.5 months, and I passed that bar on the first go around. So I didn't really fast track, but I did one thing a lot of people don't do, and I did not ever take a break. I just went straight through. So I was a lawyer by the time I was 25.
Awesome. And that break, that's a killer. Some people don't come back, and some people just, I heard that too. Don't take a break if you don't have to. Just finish and get it done.
Just run on.
So as soon as 25, that's a young lawyer. We know folks are going to hate because you're young. People are going to hate because you're beautiful. People are going to hate sometimes because you're Black. So was the entrepreneurship, was it like, I don't want to play the game and I'm going to come out here and whoop them in court? Or did you take a corporate job and then say, it's not for me?
That's what happened. And sorry I didn't address that. I took a corporate job, worked for a Jewish gentleman. And I say that because he inspired me with a lot of his ideals with respect to hard work and just putting that work in. So even though he was a white guy, he was Jewish, so he understood oppression. He got that. He gave me a chance. Okay. Kellen, my check was late one time, and I was like, sorry, I gotta go. I'm gonna have to cancel this contract. I'm put in my notice. And the next 30 days, I'm gonna step out on faith. And that's exactly what I did. Because when looking at how much I was getting billed out at, when looking at things like that, you look at that and say, well, hold on. When you're with a firm, you're on your own. I mean, you have paralegals and things, but you're doing the work on your own. They will come and set a file on your desk that is this thick and be like, here you go, it's due in 2 days. And you're like, or here you go, it's due in a week. And I mean, so I really feel like, on my own, I was still on my own almost, if that makes sense. When you're in the corporate world, you have to get in there and you have to swim. You have to swim with the sharks, you got to be ready to go. They don't baby you when you go into law, and corporate, when you're working for a company. They're billing those clients and you got to do the work. And they expect you to know how to do it when you come in. I don't know how, because the bar doesn't teach you that. And in law school, they can never prepare you. But that's why they call it the practice of law, because you learn as you go a lot of the times. And the law is ever changing. So, I was like, you know what? I can just do this on my own for myself and pocket every dollar. And so that's what I ended up doing.
Well, that was going to go into my next question. You ask any attorney, they will tell you law school doesn't teach you how to be a lawyer. So how do you learn, especially when you say, look, I'm billing, 100, 200, 400, whatever that bill is an hour, because, if it doesn't teach you how to be a lawyer, most people think, hey, you know everything. And so how do you have to tell your clients, hey, listen, I'm kind of practicing with this case right here. I'm 25 years old.
When I went into law, it's like they could look and they knew I was young. And I had a lot of clients that were just like, you know what? I like the way you talk. I believe in you. Let's go. And that's what happened. I hit the ground running. I got them, their victories. And I kept going, and so one of the first 6-figure cases that I settled, someone made me do. I did not want to do that case. It was a cavity search case in Missouri County. I knew the girl from growing up with her in church, and I did not want to do that case. I was scared crapless, okay? And I was getting ready to have to sue the state of Texas, Missouri County, DPS, new lawyer, pretty much. Couple years in, and I'm like, I could fight the criminal case because they ended up giving her a crappy criminal case. At first, it was a traffic ticket for marijuana. Beat that. Then they told me, okay, you want to fight this? We'll refile it as a misdemeanor. Refiled. End up running into a guy that was, and now it is my home church, but it was my mother's church at the time, a guy I knew. And I said, look, I see some constitutional issues in this case, and I don't think you want to push this case. Because if you push this case, I'm lying, Kellen, because I'm lying when I'm bluffing his ass out because I'm scared. If you push this case, I'm going to sue you, blah, blah, blah. He laughs in my face in the courtroom with the most, that laugh had so much girth. He really laughed me out of there. And I was like, I'm sick, sons of bitches. I don't care. She's right. Let's go. And I just hit the ground running, ended up, getting 6 figures on the state of Texas came back and damn near got 6 figures on Brazoria County, and that was it was done with. You couldn't tell me anything after that. And so a lot of it has to do with your confidence. A lot of times you are scared. A lot of the times the clients know you don't have that much expertise, but they are putting their faith in you because they feel you. It's almost like a connection. I always tell people, with my clients, if I move, you move just like that. When I move, you move just like that. Some of the best clients are the ones that'll tell me anything, whether I want to hear it or not. And people, it's a connection with people that you have. And when you have that connection, it's like you got that person on your back. They're on your back and you got to swim with them on your back. You got to get them to the side. So they got to trust you and you got to trust them. So yeah, a lot of the times they know how much experience you have or how much experience you don't have. And they're believing in you. And that belief in you will give you what you need to go ahead and push forward. It's almost like running scared. You know what I mean? A lot of times on the track, you want to run that race, you're scared as hell. A lot of times, Kellen, I know you may turn on that recording and you're shivering. A lot of times you got to get in front of an audience and people don't realize you have stage fright because you pull it off so well. And that's exactly the feeling it is. And that's exactly how it is.
No, I definitely get that, because anybody who hits the stage will tell you, if they're honest, you're nervous. And I don't care how many times they've done it. Ask Les Brown. You could have asked, little Michael Jackson or big Michael Jackson. There is something. And if you don't have that, you probably shouldn't be on the stage. So, you talk about, because somebody will hear that and say, see, that's why my child is going to become a lawyer, because you get that 6-figure money, not understanding that you get a piece of that and it's based on the work you've already put in, kind of like a real estate agent. So, can you break that down? Because somebody might hit you up for a loan tomorrow hearing this and say, hey, I heard you got 6 figures. I just need, 2,000.
Well, yes, we get a percentage of the cases. Like I do a lot of slip and falls, car wrecks, and I only get a percentage. So if I bust a case for $280,000, I'm not getting the whole $280,000. If I take it to trial, if I take it to trial and actually go to trial, I'm only getting 45%. If I file the case, I'm getting 40. If I sell it pre-lit, I'm getting 33 and a third of that. And so you gotta, what it is? You eat what you kill. You eat what you kill. If you don't kill nothing, you don't eat. There are times where you, as lawyers, you may go through a whole dry spell where you have these cases and you can't crack any of them, or you can crack the small, but you can't crack the big ones. So this is something for movers and shakers. It's not for the faint at heart. You got to have hustle in you, and you have to be ready to get out there and work hard. You also have to have another type of law that you have under your belt a lot of the times if one type is slow. And so that's what I do. So I make sure that I'm constantly able to keep myself afloat and doing well, because I got bills now. I got bills, Kevin. Well, I got wants and needs now. When you get a little taste of it, you need it. So.
And I like to tease people and say, if you're a serial cheater, being a lawyer might be for you, because if you can handle both, if you can juggle it well, not that you're cheating your clients, but that folks who, some guys like to have 2 homes. And so if you can handle 2 type of things. Now, we see the lawyers on TV, we see them in the movies. Would you say, like Law and Order, is that an accurate, portrayal?
Hell no.
Law? No.
Hell no. Law and Order is not. Now the Lincoln Lawyer is, you know what I mean? Movies and they hit and you're like, damn, that was on, Law and Order, no, not so much. No, but that Lincoln Lawyer, that's kind of how life is for us. That's really how it is.
And that is interesting. I have a family member, when he graduated Texas Tech, and my wife graduated Texas Tech as well. And, they did it kind of almost at the same time. I said, hey, you going to go back to Dallas? Because we're in Lubbock. You go back to Dallas. If you need a goon squad, holler at me. Because being in entertainment, you got to have a goon squad. And that's what the Lincoln Lawyer had, because you don't know if you're dealing with the Mongols or who you're dealing with, but you better have somebody that has your back. Can you talk about some stories that you've heard and why it's important to have your ear to the street as an attorney?
One thing I always tell people is people think that attorneys, should be these square individuals that don't really know what's going on and aren't in the know. A lot of times when you're in a case, you have to have you have to know the definitions. You got to know street slang. You have to understand how Hispanic people live their lives. So you got to go spend some time in the barrio. I always tell my wife, you better go get you some barbecue in a black neighborhood because you got to understand how that goes. How can you represent people of all walks of life if you don't understand them? And so there are plenty of times where, and especially when I first started off, where I'd sit and assist older attorneys in their cases, and they don't know definitions of stuff. We beat cases on definition. And I say that because you can catch people in a lie with the more that you know. And a jury doesn't like to be lied to. And so when you know a little bit of everything, you're able to relate to that jury how you know that witness is lying. And when you can break it down for them, then they trust you. They don't trust the witness. They want to throw out everything that person has said, and you're going to get the verdict that you're looking for. So you got to have that relation. You have to have your ear to the street. You got to know what's going on, not only in politics, but in people's neighborhoods. You know, you're not going to be a good lawyer if you don't know black folks and you represent black folks. You're not going to be a good lawyer if you don't understand white people in the backwoods and country if you don't represent those type of people. You got to know who you're representing, and you got to understand their culture. It's imperative that you do that because it's happening. I mean, their culture has something to do with that case because it's them and they're in it. They're a party. They've done something, you know, or someone's accusing them of something. And there may be something that you can pick up on within their culture that the opposing counsel may not know. And you can flip that entire case in your client's favor because you keep your ear to the street, because you understand. And then you can teach that jury.
Now, you know, we talk about working hard, and what you're saying is the same thing as a younger man, Davis W. Smith. They call him the gorilla in Lubbock. And, you know, and he said, you got to work hard, because I bothered him because I saw this beautiful car and he had billboards all over Lubbock. I said, what are you really doing? Right. And being a gorilla is one thing. Like, there's gorilla pimps, but you also have finesse pimps, and you have gorilla lawyers and finesse lawyers. What do you find the approach? Who's winning more? Is it the finesse or is the gorilla? Because, you know, I just got to know.
Okay. Honestly, I will say if you have both, you're winning. Okay. And I say this because of this. And you think it's the gorilla lawyer all the time, but it ain't so. Because when you cannot push and force somebody into submission, what do you have? Okay. It's like ruling. If you're a king and it's a monarchy, and these people are subjects, you can always use fear to rule over your nation. But when they no longer are afraid of you, you've got nothing. Okay. So you always have to have both. You got to have finesse, because those that don't fear you will like you. And so you get what you need from the one that like you. And then some of them you get what you need because they're afraid of you. So it's always a good balance to have both. You have one or the other doesn't mean you're not going to win. You can probably knock heads with either one, but you must have both. And that's what I've always tried to focus on, both. Because I tend to be a guerrilla lawyer, but I've had to work on my finesse. It's almost like you know what? I had even started looking into hypnotism and looking at how you hypnotize. I know that sounds crazy. Finesse is that. Yeah. That finesse is that important. That the cadence of my speech, my tone, how I say things, how loud or how soft I say them, is going to sway a jury any particular way. Right? So that's why.
And I like that, because you went on that ASMR trip for a second, and that's how you really, you know, you finesse them and hypnotize them to really hear you. Because I've heard, especially from Black lawyers, especially men, that, you know, those female judges, Kellen, you're talking about, they don't like me, so I can't reach out to them. I'm like, no, you can reach out to them. Let's offer them a drink, and, you know, I'll show you. No, Kellen, they don't like me for whatever reason. They have, you know, male issues. But I said, if the females have male issues, I then know they really don't like the Black women then, because, you know, black women can clash just because the lights turned off. Yeah. Just so can you talk about that? Do you find it easier to deal with judges that look like you? Because this is a topic that and forgive me if you can't talk about this, but judges that look like you or judges that don't look like you, but maybe admire you. Maybe they admire your work. Maybe it's your look. Maybe it's just, your tone.
One thing that I have learned, and I had to learn this about the Black judge, they haze. They haze. So they see someone like themselves, and it's not necessarily that they don't like. See, we think they don't like us. We think they don't like us. They're mothering us. I've never, and when you think about it in that way, it's easier to get what you want from them. They do come across abrasive, some of them, many of them. But that's not what it is. It's a mothering. It's a hazing because you're one of them. And you're coming before them, and they're going to make sure your shit is wrapped tight. They're going to catch you everywhere you slipping. Why? Because you're not going to go in front of the white judge slipping, Allie. You're not going to go. You go in front of them with that shit, and they're going to throw your shit out. So they're going to make sure I come straight. Up, if I'm crooked, they're gonna flip my ass straight back up. And I used to piss me off until I realized what they were doing. I said, damn it, they're hazing me, they're straightening me out. So that I can get what I need anywhere. And do you know it's worked? It has worked. So that's the thing about it. And you deal with all people that are, she thinks she's cute or whatever. And so you will get that here and there. But Black judges, mainly the ones that look like me, I have noticed that that's what it is. It's a hazing. And once you make it through the hazing, you're good. But you gotta get through that shit. You might want to go hallway and I have a friend that had to go back and apologize because she called a judge a bitch under her, like, I guess her breath enough because the bailiff heard her and told the judge, and she had to go back in there and apologize. She's like, dang, Karen. So she had to go back in there and apologize to the judge's face for calling her a bitch. And the judge was like, look, we both look alike, we're both women from the same place because they weren't from the United States, but they were Black. And she said, we're both from the same, I understand you got that fire, but here, I'm sorry, but you can't be blah, blah, blah. And so that's what it is. It's the haze. It's the haze. Once you can get over the Black woman's hazing and her spanking you, then you're fine after that.
Okay, and y'all have some fly ready for TV judges in Dallas and Houston. They are ready, only to be compared with Alabama. Alabama, I'm not gonna leave y'all out because I know who I'm talking about. and so I say that, because we see lawyers, judges on TV. Has reality TV reached out to you yet?
No, they have not. And I don't really have much of an internet. I used to try to go for an internet presence, but I never did a YouTube channel or anything like that. So I've never really went for it. People just kind of watch me on my pages and things like that. And then I'll kind of back down because my page will get too many people. I won't know who these people are. That'll scare me. And then I'll switch my page up. So I probably need to try, but I'm not really out there like that. So I haven't been approached yet.
Okay. Well, I pushed you when we first talked. I said, why are you not on YouTube? Knowing the connection that we have and that it would be so much easier for you than most people, and that you're, part-time crazy. I called her that on my show, y'all. But I'll tell her that on and off air. Like, she got a fire about her, and I'm not gonna lie. Allie don't scare me. I got an Allie type over here. So, and she gonna say what she gonna say and be mad, but she's still gonna talk to me and love me. So it's all good. But I would love to see that, just because that representation, it's like Judge Mathis tricked some people to go to law school. We're told to go, oh, you should go become this, you should become that. But Judge Mathis, even though it's not real, he made it seem like, and some folks got so deep into it, they said, hey, I'm already here, I might as well go. Is being a judge a plan of yours? Could you see yourself doing that?
I've had so many people tell me that that's what I need to do. And I've had people say, that's your calling. And I see you on the bench one day. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, that's what people say. Myself, I've never like considered it really, like thought about it or had it be a fire within myself. It's come to pass throughout my mind because people say it a lot.
So forgive me. I try to use
we'll
my
see.
powers. I try to use my powers for good. But if you increase that social media platform, especially the YouTube, the people are going to call for you in a different way and demand, because they're going to say, so-and-so just got killed. This injustice just happened. We need a new judge. And then you will be forced as a public figure. So when that happens, thank God for, for that. But that's just how I see it. That's just how I see it. And why not? Why not you instead of somebody who doesn't look like you that can't inspire folks to keep pushing? Because you could easily get comfortable and say, look, I got a high 6-figure income. I'm straight. I ain't got to do nothing else.
That's true.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see where the wind blows and where it takes me, Kellen.
Wherever you want it to go, as and deal with all the nonsense that comes with it. Let me ask, with all the success that you have had and the success that I'm talking about that you're going to have in the future, what is a community give back that you're doing or that you plan on doing? Because I know a personality like yours doesn't just take. There's something that you're doing, for the streets.
Yes, and from time to time I do pro bono cases, pro bono work for people. The churches, they'll have volunteer drives. I love the elderly. I love them, and so I don't mind doing wills and trusts for them, or helping them out with things. Sometimes they have issues, with taxes or foreclosures, so I do that type of thing. I do clinics. And then a lot of it comes from churches and stuff, but I'll do clinics where, they'll have, different lawyers there to help people out with cases and to help them with advice. So that's what I like to do. I want to get into voting, getting people to vote, helping them understand about voting, and not so much as voting always like Democrat, but learning to vote to keep people out, if that makes sense. I think that we as Black folks, we just we're going to vote Democrat, and it's not because I'm Republican or whatever, but I think this, a lot of these people, we can get them out in the primaries. I think people don't realize that you can switch and vote for whatever primary you want to, and then come back and vote in the regular election. And we as Black people have such a powerful vote. We need to knock out these stronger candidates that are from opposing parties early on in primaries and put their candidates, a weaker candidate of theirs, against our stronger candidate. So I want to talk, to the communities here and teach us on how to use our vote in a strategic manner, voting strategically, because that's something that as Black we haven't grasped, and we'll vote for whoever people will tell us to vote for. But that's just in the final elections. We don't look at the primary elections at all. We don't look at those type of elections, and those elections are the ones that determine the final election.
See her getting on her campaign already, and why you got to vote Allie Booker. See how that ties in, folks. God is good, and that's how he does it. Now, I want to get your thought process on this, because during COVID, I've had lawyers tell me, hey, Kellen, things are sweet for us because a lot of the virtual courts we can do. Even in Kenya, I have an attorney right now working on a case for me, and they're like, hey, you don't have to come here. We can do it virtually. But I've heard folks here say, look, if I pull in 100 clients and I can settle out of court virtually for $1,000, look how much money I can make. And if I can pull in, no longer how long this thing goes, they're really preying on getting 1,000 clients so they can see that 7-figure income. What do you think about that? Because my question is, are you really able to give, as a small boutique firm, that much to each client? Or are you just kind of like Ply said, swapping them out and making a deal? So, give me your thoughts on that.
I think COVID gives you a lot of time to work on these cases, and you can take on more because the resets are longer. Due to COVID, it's also easier to get your court dates and to get in court because it's right here behind the screen. And when it's right here behind the screen, that saves time on traveling, going into court, listening to docket, and disruption in court. And things are flowing much better electronically and via video conference than ever before. And also, in addition to that, it makes it easier because the courts now have to be on an electronic system. And, before COVID, these courts it was a lot of them. And you got to think about it. The judges run the courts. So it's up to the judge as to how his staff is going to perform. They weren't checking emails. And it wasn't because they weren't checking them. It was because they didn't check them as much. It wasn't commonplace to receive an email from an attorney. And so we may get our email answered in a couple of days. Whereas now we're getting responses in 20 and 30 minutes with hearing dates. We're able to talk to the court staff a lot easier. Filing has been electronic, but now, the filing is quicker, okay, because you can't walk in and file anything now. So they have people manned just to run the electronic filing system. Things are going faster with respect to getting things done. And then the court dates, you're getting more time in between because of COVID. So that gives you time to work, even being a boutique firm. So, yeah, I'm able to help my clients. I don't do this is one thing. And my clients sometimes, I will say this, like with the car wrecks, they will get a little, they'll say that. And I'm like, look, this is not we're not popping a bag of popcorn. That's not what we're doing. We're not popping popcorn. You want the money, you're going to have to wait because I got to do the work to put behind it because you're talking about an insurance company here and they have no reason to pay somebody that's not going to make their counsel work. Now, when that insurance company has to keep paying their counsel, their general counsel, more and more money, it's going to make more sense for them to go ahead and give you what it is you want than it is to be putting it in the lawyer's pocket and then still have to give you what you want. So you got to work those cases and it takes time. I do not turn my car wreck case over fast. If I had to sell a case for $1,000 or $2,000 or $3,000, I would be sick. A lot of these big firms do that. I just am vehemently opposed. I'm completely against it. I try to max out every case that I can. I'm looking at the amounts of the policies and I'm trying to hit policy limits.
Definitely.
And that's just, and that's the way to do it. And in order for you to build a case, it takes time to build the cases. You got to get your experts, your consultants lined up, your doctors. They need their time to do what they have to do. So that turn and burn shit, it works for some people, but that ain't for me. And then another thing is when you turn and burn, you're burned out. You're burned out. Your work is sloppy. You know what I mean? You can't really get good referrals that way because the work isn't as substantive and as in depth as it should be to get the best end result. So COVID has been great, because I can work from home. I just came from my office. I can get a lot done with COVID and right behind the screen. So, yeah, we are killing them with respect to that. It's hurting, some people's business because it's harder for people to get clients. But if you have a good internet presence and good referrals, you're killing it.
Well, I know you have a good, connection locally. And so when you do get the internet connection, then it's, oh man, you guys, if you're looking for a job, send in your CV right now to Allie. It's bookerlawfirm.com. The links are in the description because with her online presence, it'll go crazy. I've seen people who aren't good attorneys really win just because they have like a niche. Maybe it's an immigrant niche, or they know all the criminals. I can't go and say how they know all the criminals, but they have their ways of finding all the criminals. Maybe they grew up with them, right? So that's a beautiful thing. Now, have you thought of outside of social media and this future YouTube channel that you're going to do and podcast as well? What other interests do you have that you can kind of tie in the law? Because I could see, the Allie album and, featuring Megan Thee Stallion and whoever else. And if you go to her Instagram, y'all scroll down. She may give me permission to share some pictures in this video. But Do you see yourself, doing something outside of law?
I mean, I like to be what's quote unquote in the mix. It keeps you abreast of basically, like I said, of what's going on out in the world and within the law. And so that is how I meet a lot of people and a lot of clients, being in the mix, in the know, in the crowd. And so somewhere down I don't, you know what? Maybe not on this Facebook page or my other one, but they're all public. I did a rap on there. I mean, I just do all types of things. Clients that run studios. Shout out to Bonehouse Records. So, I mean, yeah, I do.
Okay. And I'm sure you get a lot of pushback and people saying, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't post that. Take that down. And it always comes from mama and everybody around mama and, just the family first. How do you deal with that? Because a lot of folks won't ever get to their full potential because they are worried about what outsiders say who are not paying their bills.
That is pretty much what I tell them. I tell them that I pay my bills, okay? And that, I'm me. I always say never let people put you in a box because they will put you in that box quick, and you've got to be comfortable with yourself and seated in who you are. And you are who you are. And that's really the genuineness of it all is what drives people to you. So you've got to be genuine. And in being genuine, you got to do the things you like. Okay. I mean, I bartended for friends. I have a liquor license to bartend. I mean, because I have friends that own clubs and it's like, hey, I want you to come in here and bartend. And I'm like, normally I'd be like, hell no. I'm like, give me the Spanx and the tights and the crop top and let's go. So, I mean, you gotta be yourself. You gotta be who you are. You get one life. You better live it to the full potential, its full potential. And just because you're a lawyer or a doctor or a radio caster or a manager or an entertainment manager or whatever these people may be doing doesn't mean that that's the whole life that you have to live. You can't be yourself. You can't throw any personality in it. You have to talk a certain way, walk a certain way, dress a certain way. Because if you do that, then how genuine are you? How happy are you going to be? And that light that shines, that's what makes people feel better about themselves as well. It makes people feel better about you and trusting you and befriending you. And it also shows them that, I can be who the hell I want to be. So, yeah.
No, I love that. And you can tell I could give a hoot. I have people that clown. They say, Kellen, take off that yellow Michael Jackson shirt and them Louis Farrakhan glasses. But I said, you just said two great men. So if that's what you get from my stilo, it's all good. We're going to keep moving and love it. I love this game, and I want people to just check your site out, follow you on, again, links will be in the description. I don't want to give them a game overload because I could do this all night with Allie, but we're going to take this offline, y'all, because I'm going to bother her about something, and she already knows what that is, and we'll go from there. So, Allie, do you have any last words for the people?
Y'all just be yourselves. Never let anybody tell you that you can't do what you want to do. And even if it sounds stupid, if that's what you want to do it. People tell you all the time, oh, that sounds crazy. Why do you want to do that? Y'all, some of the most money was made off of what other people call dumb ideas. Okay? So do you. Do you be genuine? Don't be what other people want you to be. Be who you are. And do not care about what people say about it. Because trust me, you're going to get where you're going to get regardless. If it's in you, and you got it, you're going to get where you get regardless. Look at Melania Trump.